Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to an update on my Kappy 3D printer. I designed a printer called Kappy about a year ago. I never released the printer. It was just kind of a neat project to try some things out while I waited for parts. I'm again waiting for some parts for Panda Mini and a couple other builds that I'm working on, so I thought why not update and release this printer called Kappy. So this is a small form factor, easy to build, Cartesian, or what people would call a bed slinger 3D printer. This is very beginner friendly. It does not use a heated bed. It uses a 24 volt, 8 amp AC adapter. So you're not dealing with 110 volts here. The wiring is very simple. This has a 120 by 120 build area. It has dual belted Z with a 3-to-1 gear reduction. Nice simple gearboxes down here to basically increase the torque and prevent the x-axis falling. Again, relatively low parts count, simple to assemble, great for anyone wanting to get into building their own 3D printers but might be intimidated with Core XY. I imagine there's going to be lots of mods for this printer, and I'm very excited to see where the community takes this. So this is a pretty high performance little guy. Let's get a print going on here and let's chat about this printer a little bit while we watch it print. All right, here we are. You can see that the printer's homing right now. What's really cool about this printer is because it has dual independent stepper drivers, we can actually use Klipper's Z-tilt to actually make sure that the X carriage is completely level. So we're just going to do a home here. This printer does use BL Touch. It was the easiest way to implement bed leveling on this printer. You can see here we're actually probing the left and right side to see how level the X gantry is, and Klipper is making adjustments until it's perfectly level. So that's a really nice feature. The downside here is you are going to need a main board that has 5 independent stepper drivers. So either an MKS Monster 8, like I'm using right here, or a Manta M5P would be great options. I do have mounts on the Printables page for the Monster 8. They're only $55 Canadian. I get them from AliExpress. That comes with drivers. It's a really good buy. And then generally I just use Klipper on my laptop for all my other printers, so I don't have to keep buying Raspberry Pis or anything like that. On this size of a printer, you are limited by form factor. So the Monster 8 just barely fits in the bottom of the frame there. So just be cautious about that. I definitely do recommend the Monster 8. It's quite a nice board, but it is a little bit large. And like I say, the downside of having those 2 independent Zs is you have to do the Z-tilt. You could potentially get away with maybe a 4-driver board and have both Z motors run off of the same driver, like a SKR Mini would, or something like that. However, when the printer is off, one side of the X might fall a little bit more than the other, just slightly, so that you'll kind of have to manually level it every print. So I do really recommend try to get a 5-driver board so that you can do that Z-tilt that we've seen in the start of the print there. So next thing I want to make sure everyone is aware, I did not design the tool head for this printer. This is using the Dragonburner tool head by Chripy. So all credit goes to him. This is his version 7 of the Dragonburner. I know version 8 is in beta and it will improve the cooling even further. So I'm really excited to update this printer to version 8 of Dragonburner and get even better cooling. The cooling is definitely adequate right now. We're printing PLA on this, and you know, it can do a benchy in about 22-23 minutes, which is very impressive for Cartesian printer like this, so I'm very happy with that. So all credit goes to Chripy for the awesome toolhead. Price wise, this is around $300 USD. There's not really a whole lot you can do to make a printer below that price for DIY. This is a self-source printer. You're going to pay higher costs. This is not to compare with like an Ender 3 or something like that. This is a totally different genre of printer. This is for makers, people who want to tinker, learn, kind of build a small high-performance printer they can have on their desk. Like I say, it's great for kids who want to get into building 3D printers or learning mechanics or something like that. It's a really cool platform for that, and it's a very capable printer. I would really recommend this printer for like printing out, speed benchies, little toys for your kids, knickknacks, things like that. Small mechanical parts. It works really, really well with that. There is no way to adjust the bed. The bed is fixed. So again, you're relying on that BL Touch in your bed mesh to make a good bed, and you also want to print the bed frame as flat as possible. So I've been printing, some calibration stuff, some benchies, some dinosaurs, and just toys and things like that with it, and it's been working really well for me. So this printer does use 4 linear rods and 1 linear rail. I wanted to keep the cost down in most countries. Linear rails can be more expensive, in different countries. However, due to the simplicity of this printer, you could very easily mod the Y and the Z to use linear rails if you wanted to. But I am happy with the performance of the linear rods and just a linear rail on X. I am using a West 3D Berserker rail on X. I just wanted something with known good quality. West 3D has a lot of awesome parts, and I do have an affiliate link in the description if you want to support the channel that way. It really helps, and it's no extra cost to you. This printer does use a 24 volt, 8 amp AC adapter, so really easy wiring. What I'm using is I'm just connecting the AC adapter to the main board with an XT60 connector. So that connector is able to handle a good amount of amperage and is very easy for, like I say, beginners to wire the power into the printer. You don't have to worry about wiring 110 volts or anything like that. Very simple, and the power supplies are generally quite inexpensive. Again, this printer doesn't use a heated bed. I'm printing on Kapton tape. That's where the name of this printer comes from. It's called Kappy. However, you can certainly print on painter's tape if you wanted to, which is awesome. Or on Amazon or AliExpress, you could order like a BuildTak sheet, just a black BuildTak sticker. I've used those in the past on a lot of different printers, and they work very well too. I also use a little bit of I also use a little bit of glue stick just to help with adhesion, and parts stick really, really well. So I did print this entire printer out of PLA. So this is Sunlu's Meta PLA. I just happened to have it lying around from a review. I really like the color, and I was able to use that filament for printing. ABS or PLA will work totally fine. There's not a whole lot of tolerances you need to worry about. Your rods, you might have to tap the rods into the holes a little bit if you use ABS, because there is a little bit more shrinkage there. But like I say, either filament type should be fine. PLA should be the easiest for most people and work totally fine. I do have a viewable version of the CAD on Onshape. This isn't sponsored or anything like that, but if you look at the link in the description, there is a Onshape link that has the CAD. So if you're building this printer, it makes a really good tool to be able to use to assemble the printer. You don't need an account, you don't need anything like that. Just simply click the link and it'll open a full 3D model in the browser that you can look at while you're building as a reference, which is really neat. I would still consider this a beta. I'm the only person right now that has one. There is a Kappy channel on my Discord. I encourage everyone to join the Discord. It's an amazing place, not just for building the Kappy printer, but building any sort of printers, learning about Clipper, There's a lot of really, really awesome people on there and a lot of fun channels to just hang out in. So definitely join my Discord. And this printer, because I'm using the Dragonburner toolhead, you can use a very large array of hot ends and extruders. So this will work with like a Sherpa Mini, sail fin, orbiters. I'm using the HDX extruder, which is on the bill of materials you'll find on the Printables page, which of course is in the description as well. I am using, in this scenario, I'm using just a Triangle Lab CHC hot end I had lying around, but this will support the Bamboo X1 hot end, of course, Revo hot ends, V6 hot ends, all sorts of different hot ends. So again, another reason why I wanted to use the Dragonburner toolhead is to have all that support for different types of hot ends and extruders. For the extruder, just pay attention a little bit on how much space there is on the gantry, the X, when it's moving. Generally, you want to try and find an extruder that's symmetrical like the HDX. So a Sherpa Mini should work fine. But if you have an orbiter where the motor sticks out on one side, you might run into the carriage before it actually hits the full travel. So just pay note to that. This printer does use sensorless homing on Y and X. It has a very nice flat surface to home up against. So it's very easy and convenient to get going, much less wiring. You don't need to worry about end stops and things like that. The frame is very, very rigid. You can see the big corner L plates on the top, and then there's some T plates holding up the uprights of the extrusions. This is a very stiff printer. If you see the printer moving around in the video, it's because I'm running this on just a really crappy Amazon table. Unfortunately, my office is not big enough for a workbench. This is running at 15,000 acceleration and around 200 millimeters a second on most of the features, except the outer wall, which I believe is 100 millimeters a second. Basically limited by cooling right now on the speed. I think that once the V8 CAD is out for Dragonburner, we can get that speed benchy below 20 minutes. So very happy with the printer. It's very high performance. There's very few parts involved, and I think it'll be a fun build for kind of anyone. So join my Discord if you're not on there already. We'll just kind of skip to the end, near the end of the print here, so you can kind of see the finish. But I went a little aggressive on this benchy. The cooling's just a hair, not quite enough for this particular benchy that I sliced up. We have a little bit of cooling problems on the bow of the boat there, but the quality is very, very nice. I'm sure you could even tweak it a little bit further with the cooling that is already there. So, and then I'll kind of show off the print here in the video just so you can kind of see what it looks like. So very, very happy with how it looks. And you can see just a little bit of cooling there. We could use a bit more or slowed the print down maybe by 30 seconds to help with that. Definitely leave some comments below what you think about the printer. Feel free to join my Discord. And if you want to support the channel, feel free to join Patreon. I have YouTube memberships now, or buy any of my merch from my website. Thanks again, everyone, and I'll catch you next time.